Hi guys, Groq has a hype these days as it is solid, but the pricing is one thing that is making it not a very favorite choice. But when you look at the API which is the fastest and has set a very good benchmark, it is Groq. While testing this, I came across this idea to test the hype by making my own model. So here I am. This is A-yush-I. Welcome back to my channel. I am going to make a very simple AI model today using Groq, the fastest API, by creating just 3 simple files. So let's begin. As you can see, I have opened my Visual Studio Code and here I am going to create one model. For this, I have to create a folder that has already been created here. So starting with the creation of 3 files. The file number 1 will be the .env file, which will create the API key, or which will keep the API key for using. Second file will be the requirements.txt file. This is going to have all the imports at one place. So why these imports are necessary, you will get to know in the coming time. The last file that we are going to make is app.py. Just going to keep the code. So starting with the model, first of all we'll import the libraries. Importing Streamlit as ST, which is going to be used to build the web interface. Second one is importing OS, which is going to access the environment variables. Then we are going to have import requests. This is going to be used for sending the HTTP request to the Groq API. And lastly, from .env we are going to import load.env. Starting with the loading of environment variables. Using the load.env from the .env file, and secondly using the Groq API key, which is going to call OS to get the env by the name Groq API key. Now, setting up the Streamlit page. So as you can see, we are going to use a set page config, which can have a page title named Groq LLM model. It can have a robot face for formatting and also a layout which will be white. So we'll be keeping all this as suggested by VS Code itself. We are also going to add the title of the page to be Groq chatbot, let's say. Then when we are going to initialize the chat session, which will have the suggested code, which is if messages, which is not in the session state, it will give the session state message to be in these square brackets. Next step will be displaying previous messages. For that, we are going to take a loop where for message in the session state dot messages will be having chat session chat message having message variable which will be keeping the role, and then the markdown right here. Will be message content. The next thing that we are going to do is take the user input. For that, we are going to give a prompt which will be equal to chat input. And we can write here ask me anything. This will be displayed in the chat bar or the input bar. Nextly, we are going to process the user prompt. For that, we are going to use same thing which is given here. If my prompt will be session state giving messages to append using the role as user and the content is prompt, as you can see here. But one more thing which is to be added is having the chat message from user and the markdown will be prompt. So you can see when user submits a message, it is going to add to the session state and display it in the chat. So lastly, we are going to prepare the API request to Groq. For that, we are going to use the headers having authorization which will be giving the Groq API key, not in double quotes. And the next thing that will be given will be after a comma. This will be content type, correct? It will be having application or JSON type content. You can leave it right there. Then we'll have the body, which will be having the model. I'll go for llama 3. Sorry, it is 9.2. The next thing will be messages. Not need to put any comma here, so I can directly use the messages. That will be having like this. The role to be m role for m in the state session messages, and the content to be the same for m in the session state messages, and lastly, for making the API calls, we are going to have the response which will be equal to requests dot post taken from this particular website, which is http://api.groq.com, having v1, chat, and completions. This is correct. Having the headers as headers and the JSON body. Finally, handling if any error comes from the Groq. Responses. For that, we are going to use if response dot status code will be equal to 200. Only then we'll get the reply, which will be equal to response dot JSON having the choices which will be in the inverted commas right here. Taking this as 0 and then message and content. If session state dot messages dot append having the role assistant and content as reply. The last thing, having chat message, which is already given here. As you can see, chat message is right here, content user and content prompt is here. We can take the whole prompt from here. This particular thing will be added right here. And if this is not going to happen, we are going to add an else statement having st.error, and it will be pasting the same error statement to handle. So this is complete. So we can start the terminal. If there are any errors, let's look for the errors. I haven't used dot here. I hope there are no more errors now. Okay. So rerunning the terminal. Before rerunning the terminal, let me check if I have added a API key. No, it is not here. So I'm going to add one, which is going to be from the API key that I created. I'm going to keep it here. Yes. Let's go again. based on Streamlit, Python, and Groq. Thank you for watching.